Hello, my name is Teacher David Adam. Welcome to another episode of Fresh Off the Press English. Today we're looking at students at university. This news comes from the BBC. And it's about the students who have gone back to university or starting university this year in the UK and how they have been stopped from leaving the places where they live at university because of some people having the virus, and so they've told all the students that they cannot go out. They have to stay inside their apartments or halls. Let's take a look at the headline. Coronavirus. Students scared and confused as halls lock down. Halls. Halls. Now, when we're talking about students in the UK, we talk about where they live. If they live in the university, they often have these large areas where they have lots of apartments together. This is called a halls. Halls of residence is what they call them. But it just means the place where lots of students live together in small rooms. This is the halls. Students have spoken of their worry and confusion at being locked down in their university halls in a situation described by unions as shambolic. Confusion. Confusion. Now, obviously, this word just means not knowing what's going to happen. Not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing what is happening. This is called confusion. Nobody likes to be confused about their life. It's a very terrible, bad feeling, normally, the feeling of confusion. It worries people. People just want to know what's happening, good or bad. I want to know, but to be confused is not a good feeling. Confusion, not knowing what's going to happen. Shambolic. Shambolic. Now this word shambolic, again, you can guess. Shambolic just means very terrible, very shameful in a way. It's got that word sham. The beginning of the word sham means shame, meaning somebody's done something and they should feel terrible about it. It's shameful. Here we're using the word shambolic, another word that means similar to shameful, meaning somebody's done something terrible has happened, and there's no reason for it, there's no excuse. It's shambolic. You are to blame, and it's a disgrace. It's a terrible thing. Shambolic, a word we can use when we want to say something is really terrible and it's somebody's fault. Somebody made a mistake, somebody did something wrong. It's shameful. It's shambolic. He called for the government and its scientific advisors to reassure students and families by setting out the policy for England, and warned having students in lockdown at Christmas would cause huge anguish. Reassure. Reassure. If we reassure somebody, again, there's that part of the word sure. Being sure of something is knowing what's going to happen, being sure. So to reassure somebody is to help them understand what's going on, make them feel happier about their situation, tell them everything is going to be okay. We reassure them. We make sure they know what's happening so they can carry on with their lives, knowing what will happen. They are reassured. No longer are they confused. Yes, this word confusion. Well, if somebody is confused, We need to reassure them. Anguish. Anguish. Now, I love some words in English and other languages because sometimes I feel like the word, the sound of the word, actually contains the feeling of the word. This is one of those words for me. When I say this word, anguish, if I have a feeling of like and then there's a anguish. It's a terrible feeling. It's a feeling of, again, hopelessness, feeling very sad, feeling lost. It's just a word that we use to try and describe a certain feeling. It's hard to explain except if I say the word. Anguish. Anguish. It's a terrible feeling of not knowing what's going on, feeling lost, feeling worried, feeling scared. Anguish. Megan Tingey said she was not contacted by the university about the lockdown before police turned up outside her Birley Vine accommodation. Lockdown. Lockdown. So this is the word we're using to mean we're stopping people from leaving their homes or wherever it is that they live. We lock down. We close the doors. We don't let anybody in or out. This is the word lockdown. Everybody around the world is doing this to some level at the moment. We have a lockdown. Accommodation. Accommodation. This is the place where you live. The place that you live is your accommodation. Here we're talking about the university halls where the students live. But it could be your house, your home is your accommodation. If you go on holiday, we go to a hotel. This is our accommodation, just the place where we stay or live. This is our accommodation. Manchester Met said it had communicated with students as soon as we could, but it was not possible to give significant advanced notice due to the requirement to implement the isolation almost immediately. Significant. Significant. So this word significant sometimes can mean important or useful. Significant. Here they're talking about telling them that this is going to happen. Well, they're saying they couldn't give them significant information. They couldn't give them the important information, because if they did tell the students when they were going to be locked down, all of the students would run away because nobody wants to be locked down. So they couldn't give them significant notice. They couldn't let them know beforehand the important information, the significant information about the police coming and closing the halls, because if they did, the students would leave. Yes, the requirement to implement. Implement. If we implement something, it means we have a plan and then we do the plan. We implement our plan. Here they have the requirement, the need to implement the isolation. The isolation meaning the lockdown. Isolation. Isolation means being alone, not being able to go out, not being able to see other people. Normally isolation just means one person alone. But I hope the students are not totally isolated in their halls, because that would be a terrible, really terrible thing, just not to be able to even talk to another person around us. Isolation. Let's look at the words again from today's lesson. Halls. Halls. Confusion. Confusion. shambolic, shambolic. Reassure, reassure. Anguish, anguish. Lockdown, lockdown. Accommodation, accommodation. Significant, significant. Implement, implement. Isolation, isolation. Write down these words and remember them. Again, these are words that we need to use nowadays with the situations that we live in, with the lockdown, and people's feelings of isolation, anguish, confusion. Shambolic. These are words that we need to be able to talk about our feelings and to understand other people's feelings when we read news or hear information from around the world. When I went to university, it was one of the greatest times of my lives. I wouldn't say it was the greatest time of my life, but certainly you expect to have a good time at university, meet new people, see new things, do new things. Obviously, I feel bad for these students who have gone and have been locked down. Somewhat though, I mean, would they not understand that this is bound to happen? It must happen. The way the universities are these days, we have so many people coming from so many different places, different countries around the world, going to university in England, and so a lockdown was bound to happen. It's surprising people didn't expect it more, but I suppose what choice do students have? If they want to go to university, they have to go to university. This could be, again, that phrase, the new normal of the future. Maybe rather than going to university and having a lot of fun in the first 2 weeks of university, in the future, students will go to university and have to be locked down for the first 2 weeks of their time at university. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Please subscribe. It really helps me. I'm trying my best to get to 1,000 subscribers, but the way it looks at the moment, I'm going to probably take another 2 years to get to 1,000 subscribers, but never mind. I love doing what I do. I hope everything is all right with you guys out there. As always, don't be bored, be busy. Thank you very much. I will see you again soon. Bye bye.